My relationship with Mac Jones was Mac was cool. Mac and I are really close. It was my quarterback that year, so Mac and I got along really well. We spent a lot of time together my freshman year, just on the two team and stuff like that. So we have a lot of chemistry back there.
What was it like seeing him play in the NFL last year?
It was cool. It's something that we all knew was going to happen, especially all the guys at Alabama. Maybe the country didn't know he was going to do so well, but it's something we all expected too. It was cool to finally see him do that on the NFL stage and get the respect he deserves. Yeah.
John, what would it be like to reunite with Mac in the league?
Oh, that would be cool. Me and Mac 10 got back together. It would be cool. Yeah, for sure.
Have you thought about that at all, especially with Chase and Burrow kind of picking up where they left off from LSU in Cincinnati?
Yeah, it's definitely something. It's definitely something I've heard, and especially seeing the trend of teams liking to unite quarterbacks and receivers, or just former teammates together. I think Mac 10 and that would be special for sure.
Are the Patriots a team that you've met with already here in Indy?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned you met with the Patriots. I don't know how much of their receivers that you've watched, but if you have watched them, what do you think of the way that they've used their guys at that position?
I love the way they use their guys. They got a great young quarterback in Mac Jones. I feel like fitting that offense. They got a great receiving core, and they use their tight ends also.
What makes you say Mac is a great young quarterback?
We played him in national championship my junior year. He had a great game. He was up for the Heisman, and then he had a great rookie year. Went to the Pro Bowl as a rookie, so I feel like he's going to develop into one of the best quarterbacks in the league in these upcoming years.
What would it be like to play with Mac in the league?
Y'all just keeps me on Mac right here. I mean, y'all gonna make other teams be like, well, you don't want to play for us, you don't want to play for our quarterback. No, but it'd be cool. I mean, my thing is I'll play anywhere. It doesn't matter to me. Just give me an opportunity and I'll go take it. But when it comes to that, playing with Mac would be, it'd be cool. He's a good friend of mine. I mean, we have a good connection. It would be an easy transition for sure, but at the end of the day, it's whoever gives me the opportunity, I'm willing to. I'll be thankful and take on that opportunity.
Is that an offense that you've watched? Not just because of the Bill O'Brien connection, but the way they've used receivers on the interior. Is that an offense that you've watched a little bit of?
Yeah, I mean, especially when Edelman was there, kind of how they used him, and we use a lot of their plays. Even after Bill had left, we use some of their plays as well. Different like rub concepts where they may bring the tight end and rub a safety for Edelman to spit out, and get them run like a wheel route. So that's just an example. But yeah, we definitely watch it. I watch it, especially on Sundays. Always try to watch those games for sure.
Mac was a good player. Obviously did a really good job this year. Very proud of him, building a relationship a few years back with him and his family and watching him grow. I think he's got a bright future.
I think he'll do an awesome job. My relationship with Dave and Josh goes back a long way. I've known Josh since 1995, and Dave came with John Carroll since 1996. Both were great people. They were great players. They've both been really successful in this league at this point. I would say Dave is, very smart. He's got a very wide-ranging background, a lot of diversity in terms of experience. So whether it's working in Denver when Josh was there, he worked at Iona, he's worked a number of different jobs. He's taught, he's coached high school. So I think his ability to kind of connect with people and kind of see things through a different lens is something that's unique to Dave. Always academically did very well. I think he was an academic All-American at John Carroll. So kind of speaks to his intelligence, speaks to his work ethic. So I think their relationship, anytime you start a new program, from the ground up, when you have two people that kind of speak the same language, I think it's going to be beneficial to everybody involved. So I'm rooting for him. I'm excited for him.
Knowing the number of New England guys that are now running front offices and knowing what you guys valued when you were in New England, does it make the competition for players, whether it's free agency or the draft, relatively fierce, knowing that you guys are looking for similar things maybe?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think you might be looking for some of the similar traits and characteristics, maybe going back to Vanessa's question in terms of the intangibles. But then you have to look at, all right, what are some of the things that you're doing offensively, defensively, the kicking game, so like what Pat is looking for defensively. Are those the same things that we might be looking for in the same players in Lovey's system? It may or may not. So I would say the traits that are important to you in terms of the overall makeup, in terms of the football characteristics, non-physical related, those are the things that, you know, we're going to value. How you value players, how you grade players, the system that you use to arrive at that endpoint. There's probably some similarities, but in the end, there's 32 different buildings, 32 different ways of building their team. So they're going to do the things that they feel make the most sense for their team. We're going to do the same thing on our end. I would say the one thing it does, it certainly opens some dialogue up to having discussions, whether it's about a player, whether it's about a trade. Like, you know who you're dealing with on the other end of it. There's a relationship there, which I would say football in the end is a relationship business. So the more relationships that you can create over the course of time, you know, whether it's in one building, then they relocate it to another building. So it gives you an opportunity to maybe have some dialogue and discussion, you know, with some other teams and folks maybe that you didn't have as much contact previously.
Brice, I know you said it'd be bad business to trade Tom or to grant him that request if he did request it. But what if a team made it worth your while?
5 number ones?
That's what it would take?
Maybe.
So it wouldn't tug on your heartstrings at all to do a solid for a guy, you know, that came and played for you guys for 2 years? No emotional attachment in that kind of decision.
We'll play golf. If I beat him, he has to come back.
How unexpected was it for Tom to retire, just given his level of play last season?
Well, you know, when we signed Tom 2 years ago, none of us knew how long it would be, and if it was 1 year, 2 years, I was hoping until he was 50, but no one really knew, and so not really a total shocking surprise when, you know, he's the type that evaluates everything, continues to evaluate everything, and you know, he literally went out on top if he did in fact retire. So we just never took advantage of the days that we had with him and never took them for granted.